right, ladies. Happy Monday, official first week of 2021. It's so crazy. I know, although we're like, what, 4 days in to the year, it's like our first full week. And it's exciting. It's a crazy time, just still coming out of 2020, bringing all that with us, and just knowing, hey, it's not just like poof, and then the new year's going to bring on all these automatic changes, but it does. It brings on a new level of that excitement, but also it's learning how to work through that and making sure that it's not just like, oh, we're on this high for a week or two, and then we're just right back to, the way things were before, just getting so wrapped up in the hustle and bustle and making all the excuses for all the different things. So I just really kind of wanted to talk about that tonight. I know we haven't really had a lot of templates, and I really didn't want to plan this out too much. I do have some notes, but I really just wanted to share from the heart tonight and make this off the cuff, and even like make this interactive. So if you have thoughts or anything, please share them in the chat, ask questions at the end, because just to be honest, like I've talked about in, swapping the team page and making all of these changes, I want to just really lean into the culture and the community of being a part of something bigger. I don't want this to just be like Christy talking and posting. Like, I get tired of standing here for myself, and it's just so much better when we lean in and can just, grow together. It's just like we tell our Fit Club members all the time, and I just really make sure I've honed in on that with them. Like I tell them, I promise you, the more you lean into the group, the more you're going to get out of it in return. And that's the exact same thing in this business, and leaning into the team page, showing up, sharing tips, or hey, I'm just like really struggling, you guys, and like let's love on each other and pour into each other. Like that is what it is all about, because we all have our own personal struggles as well as the struggles that we're all going through together. So it's just a blessing that we have that community that so many people don't in this crazy time. So like I said, I have just been like mentally the past month or so, like things are good, but like I'm just like, geez, I'm just feel so trapped. And I know you guys have probably felt there. Maybe you do now, or you've been there. And it just like, to me, I'm like, okay, enough is enough. Like I'm tired of being stuck and knowing that I'm working so dang hard and not seeing the success that I want. Yes, there is growth, and that's why we have to, and I'm the world's worst because I do have that just super like go-getter workaholic, like there's always room for improvement, but I do have to remember and constantly remind myself, like, stop and smell the roses, because we're so much further than what we were this time last year, and definitely from where I started 6 years ago. And that's the beauty of it, and that's why we have to keep focused on that, so we're not constantly robbing ourselves of our own joy and getting caught up in the comparison trap of like, oh, but she's got it going on, it's so easy for her, I must not just be cut out for this. Because we all know that's a load of crap, really. We're all here for a reason, and it comes back down to us versus us, you versus you, and knowing that ultimately every decision, action that we've taken has gotten us exactly to where we are right now. Yeah, we can make excuses for ourselves or try to point fingers, but it all comes back to us in every single area of our life. So I know for me, my focus going into this new year, like on a business level, and just trying to get more organized and less overwhelmed, and work that whole working smarter not harder mentality. I know Donna and I talked a lot about our focus is on email marketing, so we're not just saying the same thing to all the different people. So I kind of shared that in the team page of what I'm doing with that, and offering more value in those freemiums to grow that list, and just tell people how much I appreciate them following our journey. And I feel so much more genuine and authentic to that. Even going back to when we reopened up the Gym Fit community. And you guys, I want to encourage you guys to lean into that as well. Of course, our full paid, I guess you would call them, challenge groups. I hope you guys are all running your own, whether that has 1, 2, or 25 people in it. It doesn't matter. And I know several of you are. With that Gym Fit community, like lean into that. If your people are not ready, whether it's time or money, like offer them that free resource. I know we're not going to show up in there every day, but I haven't removed any of the files. There's still plans. They can go back and search whatever they want, or just a place to come and ask questions, or share their journey, and again have that sense of community in there, which I do. I'm going to try to start sporadically posting more in there. It won't be anything like full on, because we have to value our time as coaches, and those people that are pouring in and investing month after month. I want to give back to those people the most, because they're investing into themselves, and I want to be able to best help them. But there is that safe space that I want us to utilize as well. So I just said all that to say, I know for me personally, having all this free value and giving from a place from my heart and genuinely wanting to help people, it makes me feel good. So I hope that you guys feel the same, because we're all in this because we like to help other people, and we have that heart for health and passion and fitness, and know what it can do for us. And we've experienced all these changes ourselves. So what a blessing it is that we can pour into others. And we know, we've learned the hard way, that most people take 10 freaking connects or invites before they're like, okay, finally. But if you're continuing to lean in and pour into them, they will appreciate that and know, okay, she's not giving up on me. She's not going anywhere. She continues to show up in my inbox and on her feed. So, okay, I'm going to do this too. And so just wanted to share that real quick. But at the beginning, end of the day, you guys, you are a business mentor. And I've talked about, and hope some of you were able to jump on Josh's call this morning. I know it got a little long, but he is just it was hard for me at first, because he's so different than me. He loves his swear words, but he lights a fire under my rear end like nobody else, because he just he don't give a crap. He's not here to fluff anybody's dress or whatever you want to say. He's here to help us grow, to reach our goals. And that's why he tells us we as coaches don't need to be going out there talking about, oh, come join my girl gang, and we're just trying to form best friends, because that's not what it's about. We are business mentors, and we are helping change people's lives. And if we're just constantly trying to be buddy and be their best friends, then we're only limiting ourselves. But the flip side and the beauty of that is when we lead with that heart and that tough love mentality, and we're all fighting and pushing towards that bigger, better thing. The beauty of it is we're going to naturally grow so much closer together as we're constantly pushing each other to level up and push for that much more. So we're just going to naturally form that bond, and we're not trying to force it and then focus on, oh, it's okay, you fucked it up this month, you'll do better next month, or whatever it is. And then really we're just come on, get your crap together, do the work. We're thinking that in the back of our head, but when we lead with hey, I'm here to help you, and this is what it takes, and share that tough love, then we're naturally going to be drawn that much closer. But it's all in how our wording and how we're putting it out there and how we're sharing that with our followers. Because like he said, we're just setting ourselves up to fail if we're just looking for a bunch of sisters to join our girl gang, because we're not showing the work that it takes to get there. But this is where so many of us have to come together and meet in the middle this year, because I know for me, I'm on that hustler, workaholic, don't never know when to tap the brakes and slow down, because I do have those big lofty goals. But in what we're talking about in the push elite group that we're kicking off, and I'm so excited to bring this back to you guys, is talking about that heart, that hustle, but then that harmony. And for me, I'm so different than so many people. I feel like a lot of people are just living in the harmony. They're all about focusing on all the family and friend time, and just, they can never give that up. Whereas I'm let's freaking go. I'm doing this for my kids, but then I'm not scheduling that time in. I have to know when to shut down and turn it off, and knowing that I don't have to respond to somebody right now, that it's okay. So it sets it up. We start with us, our heart, our mindset, our focus, reading our goals out loud to ourselves. We're doing that personal development. We're doing that workout, because ultimately, and this is something else I want to get into in a second, but that's all for us. But then we're hustling, we're sharing, we're inviting, we're leading with recruitment and the coaching opportunity and the whole shebang. But then we're going to unplug, and we're going to have that harmony. We're going to rest, refuel, recharge, and give ourselves that break, so that come Thursday, we're not freaking worn down, overworked, stressed to the max because we just work, and never allowed ourselves that time to like bounce back and rest. So I love that it's like a full picture, and I feel like we could really come together because there's so many of us on both ends of the spectrum where we could really come together and challenge each other in that area to find. I hate the word balance because we've learned from so many different mentors. There's no such thing. There's always going to be an area that's up here, and it's just a constant like wheel that you're trying to, I guess you're trying to balance, but there's no such thing as like ever just having that happy medium. But you guys, if we're ultimately going to grow and build ourselves, build our team, build our community, recruiting has to be a mandatory thing for us. And I'm so guilty of this. You're more than welcome to weigh in on this, but it's easy to talk about the workouts. Like that's what I started this journey for, just because I've been into fitness my entire life. So that's the easy thing for me. Whereas I still struggle with the emotional eating, and that's like another step harder. But then you want to like make me want to throw up and talk about, holy crap, like this totally transformed my life in every single way. Little all small town introverted me, became an entrepreneur in direct sales and marketing. Like what the heck? This is my focus for 2021 in sharing that, because we make it into some big scary bear that it really doesn't have to be, because 90%, if not more, I think every single one of us on the call are introverts. And I know I am. Like, and what a beauty that is, that we think, oh, it's not like for all the extroverts or the people that, like, sometimes I'm like, do I really have to talk to somebody else today? When I get in that mindset, because I don't want to. But then when I think about the gift and what I get to share with them, the whole game changes. Like, because I do get to be home. I do get to, when I want to, stay in my PJs all day. And that's something else he's talked about, which will be a whole nother call, and like talking about your avatar is crap. Like so many of us try to look like Shalene Johnson, who's, she's always in her pumps and her fancy clothes and stuff. But if that's not true to who we are, it's not going to work. And that's not true to who I am. I'm shopping off the clearance racks. I'm living in my PJs and my sweats. Like that's my style. But the beauty in coaching is it's not about what somebody wears. We can connect with people from all over, of all different backgrounds and interests. But you guys, at the end of the day, we have to start peeling back those layers and stop taking that easy way out and just like sharing our sweaty selfies all the time and talking about the fitness. Don't get me wrong, that is an important piece of the puzzle, but it's just one tiny piece that doesn't share like the whole picture. Of course, investing into our health and fitness and making that time for us is key to bettering ourselves. But like, again, we have to just dig back so much deeper, because we know so many people need more. They need the community. They need the extra finances. And I know we get scared and talking about money, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it. But the truth is, for all adults, we all have bills, and we have to have money to survive. And I will just admit, money can be one of my top stressors. So that's why I'm very motivated by money. And I don't know if y'all were on the call. I think Monica may have been the call that he did last week. And he was talking about, you'll never know financial freedom until you have that, as he calls that, FU money, where you can just go to a restaurant and you don't even have to look at what's on the menu, because it doesn't matter. Like, and I know, I was like, oh God, that's me every time. Like, me and Jordan went out to eat when we were in Texas, and we went to this nice steakhouse, and we were like, let's get a bottle of wine. And we did, and we splurged because it was something we never do. But then I'm like, oh my God, did we really just spend like $120 on a meal? But like, I just want to be able to like, let's go. Let's not even think about it. Let's just enjoy this moment because we can. So there is an importance to money. It's not getting caught up in the love of money, but it's important to have financial goals, because we all have families that we want to provide for and provide that freedom for. And so talk about that, but talking about what it takes to get there. It's not just going to happen overnight. It takes hustle. But then on the flip side, where I struggle with, like, know when to cut it off too. So just focusing on those daily IPAs, those income producing activities that are going to get us closer to our goals. Those 1, 2, 3 max things a day, cut it off in an hour. That's all you got. Awesome. But it has to come back to the recruitment and not just skipping the surface. Be like, oh, this is my workout today. Come join me. That don't work. It goes so much deeper than that now in creating that emotional connection. I love this, what he said on a recent call too. If you do not build a team, you're not in network marketing, you're in direct sales. And so that's when we start feeling icky because we're so focused on selling the products. But like, that's when we end up so burnt out and overworked because we're not going to see that residual income. We're seeing a one-time, oh, heck yes, I sold a challenge pack, which is great. Congratulations. That's awesome. It's the first step. But then that $40 or $50, and then what? They cancel in a month, and then you're right back at square one. You're just hustling and grinding because we didn't really dig deep and share what's possible and be like, look, we're sharing the refer friend program. Like, get your husband, whoever your friend, like, get them to join you so that you're excited. You have that extra layer of accountability, and we're just doing this together. And then we're growing, and we're all plugging into the community, and that's where you're going to see that residual continue to build over time. But I did love that quote. Again, if you're not building a team, you're not in network marketing, you're in direct sales. So why are so many of us focusing on sales when recruiting and building a team is what's rewarded? It's just really something to think about. We're talking about the products and the programs, but that's not what's going to grow a sustainable, continual growth income over time. And then he was talking about a quote from John Maxwell, like, nothing in your life changes until you change something that you do every single day. And again, it comes down to those tiny, small, seemingly insignificant steps that seem like nothing in the moment, but when you're consistent with time, that is when the game changes. So you have to recruit daily, you guys. If you're anything about wanting to grow in any level, really, then you have to talk about this. So I say every day, I mean 5 days a week. Like, give yourself your work week and then decompress on your weekends, whatever days that may be for you. Tough love. So stop pretending that your sporadic coach invites will promote growth. I think so many of us, and if you were on the call today, he talked about, we can constantly say, oh, it's not working for me. I'm not growing. I haven't hit my goals this month. But how many of us are constantly sharing our trackers in the team page and showing the work that we put in and logging, whatever sheets or Teamsy or all the different ways to track. Heck, right now I'm out of trackers and I'm legit using pen and paper. I love putting pen and paper. It feels so good to me. But like, I'm going back to like old school, so it doesn't matter how fancy or non-fancy you get, but you gotta track it. And if somebody calls you out on it, you gotta be able to share it, or else like nobody's to blame but ourselves. You have to put in the work. Just the here and there and not being consistent, we're never going to reach the goals and success that we truly desire. In the beginning, I'm sure you were all super uncomfortable with this. You may still be very super uncomfortable with this. I still get sick to my stomach sometimes, and it's like I'm good because I know I'm still pushing myself and getting uncomfortable. So that's when I know I'm doing the right things. But like in the beginning, I can look back and I'm like, this is so icky. It's literally so salesy. I look like a freaking walking billboard. Nobody's good. We all have a square one, but we taught ourselves to get better. Just like with recruiting and talking about coaching and the community and all that side of things, like, you have to make yourself do it. You have to show up. That's the only way that you're going to get better. So if you believe, I loved what he said here, if you believe in what you have, then success is a moral and ethical obligation. It's not a force. You don't feel icky. Like, you have to believe and you have to know what you have is that ultimate gift. Like the Grant Cardone, what's his book called? Be Obsessed or Be Average. Like, you have to know what you have is like the real freaking deal. If not, it's never going to work because it always starts with us. And he went into talking about like, and we know with all this corona COVID stuff, it's not going anywhere. you guys. We're 9 months in and there's no sign. We're quarantined right now because I got diagnosed the other day. But I'm like, you know what? This is such a blessing to me. It lights my fire in a way because it's scary as crap because we can't go to work for like 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm like, it's legit all on me. Well, like we can't survive off a $200 whatever the unemployment is. But then I know like this is our dream anyways, is to retire him, us be living out of this neighborhood on a farm by ourselves because we're introverts and we want away from all the people. But I'm like, this is my chance to show up and prove that my family can do this and we will do this. So you guys, we have to, it's just all in the mindset and how we take this and we run with it. Because there's always going to be hard times. There's always going to be things slap us in the face that are unexpected. Just like this whole week, we were just like completely turned upside down with everything we had planned. And now we're quarantined together for 10 days and we're on day 2 and I want to pluck my eyeballs out, but then again, I'm like, thank you, God, we're here, we're together, we're ultimately healthy. And like, I'm going to make the most of this time. So, but not everybody has it so easy. So many people still dealing with anxiety, depression, or legit health problems. And if y'all know anything about this COVID thing, it's like vitamin deficiencies that are making most people sick off this. We have the answer to this stuff, every single bit of it. The depression, the isolation, the health. Why are we not talking about it and shouting it from the rooftops like, I can help you? Now, the worst part is we want to help them and they don't always want to help themselves, but we have the golden ticket and we have to share it, shout it every single day, like, and take ties to that emotional connection as to how and why we can help. We have that solution. Because the main reason that people are depressed is because they do not have a purpose. And I can think back to when I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety 7 years ago, and I was on like, several different medications I talked about, and they do nothing but numb you to where you can't even express your emotions. So you're just like a zombie. Like I literally just remember days I would just like sit there and I would just like be numb. But that was back when I was so stressed and overworked as a nurse. I loved what I did, but there was just always something missing. And like I've told y'all before, mine and Jordan's work schedules were completely opposite. So I never saw him. We had just been married for a year or so. And I was just like, there has to be more to life than this. So many people. I was talking to a guy actually just this week, and he was like, I'm 45 and I still don't know what my purpose in life is. And I'm like, you know what? That's okay. But if you're showing up and fighting to find out what that purpose is, you're on the right track. But it takes falling forward and fighting to figure out what that is. And like, that's why it got so hard for me that I came to that fork in the road and I was like, I'm either going to stop settling or things are going to get really, really bad, worse than what they already were. And so just a question to, kind of ask yourself, and you can think about this, and you don't even have to share it, which that would be great too. But like if you stayed on your current path, where would you be in 2 to 3 years from now? Like on a personal level, on a business level, and like, we just have to be real with ourselves. And I've asked myself that so many times, and it was just like a gut check. And then you have to reframe that to like, what is it going to take to get me to where I want to be? And setting that like personal, business, being so dialed in, just like I shared when I went live with you guys. Like we set those scary goals for this year. And I'm like, how in the world am I going to make some of these happen? But I'm going to show up. I've invested into my business. I've really leaned in hard to personal development more than ever before. And I can feel that because even with the weight of the world, my mindset has been in such a better place this past month. Like, I'm feeling motivated. I'm feeling, even taking it back to the health and fitness, I'm trying to not talk about it as much, but I'm more serious about it. And I'm literally like, this is the best I've felt health-wise, like in a long, long time. And it goes back to even talking about getting the diagnosis of COVID 2 days ago. The dude was like, are you? Like, he's like, yeah, you got it. But he's like, you look good. Like, are you sure? And I'm like, oh, I feel great. I can't taste or smell anything, but I feel great. And And I know it comes back to like, I'm taking care of me. Like, and that is what I want to give back to the world, because this, when I show up for me, I'm a better wife, I'm a better mom, I'm a better friend, daughter, sister, coach. And it starts with us. So like, I'm more in tune, like I'm fully committed to Control Freak. I'm following my nutrition plan at least 80%. I can't be 100% on nutrition. I could, but I am trying to do the dry January thing. So it helps that I guess I can't really taste. So it helps me keep on track of my nutrition. But like, this is the best I've been in like years. Like, I'm better at 31 than 21 ever thought about me 10 years ago. So, you know, that age whole thing is just a myth. We have the opportunity to make it whatever the heck we freaking want. And I'm determined to only continue to get better from here. So just to, you know, kind of recap and encourage you guys to do a few things, and just talking about that hustle, that heart, and that harmony. And I would love to know, like, where do you see yourself on that? I had told Josh earlier today, I was like, 100% need the harmony in my life, because I want to find that balance. Because although I do, and my big thing now is like, I legit am having to schedule in my family time. And like today, like I laid my phone inside, left it in, and I was like, I went and played basketball with the kids for like an hour or two, you know, and I so enjoyed that. But I'm like, okay, now I got to go get back to work. So just, but I know most people are on the opposite end. They would rather chill and watch Netflix for 3 hours or whatever. Which, by the way, I need to watch that playbook. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that he talked about on the wake up call this morning. But it's just really finding that balance, because if we're too much on the harmony side, it gets into where it's like, oh, poor pitiful me, I'll never get there. And he's talking about, we're always telling our kids, chase your dreams, go for what it is your heart desires, what you really want. But then we're having to go back and say, you know, we're leading in a different light. We're not putting forth that effort and like really working for our ultimate dreams. But then we're encouraging them. Like, he was like, how dare you, you know, not lead by example on what it is that you're telling your kids one thing, but you're doing something else. That's not to say we won't ever fall short, because we will. We're human. But it's like that falling short and like that bust or die, you know, it's like, I showed up, I gave it my best, and I may have fell short, but I do not regret it, because I know I gave it everything that I had. Whereas we're just like sitting back and we're like, I'm not seeing the success I want, but then we're not putting in the work that it takes. And again, this isn't about hours on hours on hours. It's about doing those simple things consistently, day after day, to get us there. He was talking about, you were made to be portable, for one. So get around, move. Don't feel like you're glued and you have to just be here for everyone, because you're not. You're showing up for yourself first, and then your family, and then being there for the rest. And then he was like, your goal is not to out hustle everyone, is to be out happy and out produce everyone. Because there's so many people that they're busy and they may be hustling, but they're not productive. And who wants to do that? That's me, been there, super stressed, burnout on both ends of the spectrum, working my tail into the ground, but then be like, holy crap, I still feel like I've got so many things to do. So we so often judge others based on their actions, but we're judging ourselves based on our intentions. And it's like, well, I meant well, but you know, it just never happened. Those actions never came to fruition. And we just have to hold ourselves to a higher standard, be more accountable, and showing up, being consistent. And that goes back to why I created this new page, while I really wanted to share my heart and what the vision was, whereas leaning in and just pushing each other to that next level, personally and business wise, so that we can grow and continue to reach those big goals that hopefully we've all set for ourselves. Because with it being January 4th, if you haven't, I really encourage you to take some time and include your family in this. Me and Jordan really sat down and walked and talked through all these goals. And that was some of the ones, like I put something and he like really stretched me. He's like, no, you can do this. you can do this. And so that like it helps because you're on the same page, and so that's a bond that you're growing together. But there's so many spouses that aren't always supportive, but if they know what it is that you're working hard for, the game changes. But they have to know that like we're being productive, we're making the most of our time, we are working smarter, not harder, we're not just like scrolling social media, which that's totally different topic, but I just found out a super helpful thing on Reels that I didn't know about. Y'all may know about growing, but I can do that in a second if I have time. But include your family on those goals. And even if your kids are at that age to where they understand, include them too, so that they can be part of the reward. If mommy does this or achieves this, then we'll do X, Y, Z, or I'll take you, blah, blah, blah. But do the work, get the work done, and get out of Dodge. Show up for yourself, show up for your family, show up for your team, your downline, your customers. They're the ones who have invested into you. Get the work done and then unplug. It's okay. The work can wait after that. Once you've done those few things that are going to push you further. Don't try to do all the things. Focus on those top things that are going to help you grow the most. So that's all that I got. Talking about consistency, be intense, have the right energy, know where you're devoting your time and energy to, and know your worth. Ultimately, you're the biggest part of the package, you guys, and we have to lead with that. Yes, we have incredible workouts, we have incredible nutrition programs, the super trainers are awesome, corporate is awesome, they're constantly pouring into us, but it's about you and what you have to offer. And Kat blew that out of the water today. So I hope y'all got to listen to the National Wake Up Call. It was a longer one, but her realness and her rawness and her work ethic, I'm like, I love you even more. But just showing how she's known as the modifier and more of a plus size coach, and how she's just turned that into like, she's just incredible. It's super inspiring that it's not cookie cutter, that this does allow us to be true to who we are and impact and help people in such a real and emotional way. And that's the beauty of this, is it truly is about building those relationships, and so many other companies just don't have that. But just knowing you're showing up, you know your worth. By you doing that and you being consistent, you're ultimately going to build. They said that consistency breeds confidence. And that's so true. When you're continuing to show up, just like I mentioned with my health and fitness now, I have more energy, so I have more confidence. So I'm more apt to talk about what it is that I'm doing when I'm feeling good. So that's it. The law of process, you guys. Commit, show up. It's not going to happen overnight. And that, kind of scratch or retweak the saying, like, be here in a year. Like, be here in a year at a better version of you. Don't allow yourself to show up in this same space next year, so still just hoping and wishing and waiting for that ball to drop, in your lap. Like, fight for it. Show up consistently every single day, because you're capable of anything you set your heart and your mind to. And I believe in every single one of you. So I hope and ultimately that you all believe in yourself as well. So that's all I got. Does anybody have any questions or anything? If not, I'm going to talk about that real thing real quick that y'all might not know about. I just want to make sure nobody has anything. Okay, so only got 4 minutes. And y'all may know about this, but I'm so over just like follow. Like, it's just such a time suck to me. I know that part of it is still important, and it don't really take that much time. But I also just, like the other day, I was having a conversation with a 13-year-old, and I'm like, I didn't even know it, and then she finally said it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, but still, it can happen. And she was a super sweet little girl, but I'm like, I cannot invest no more time and energy into this, which I was trying to still help her. Just offer, help it however I can. Okay, Reels, you guys. I've talked to so many other top successful coaches, and just by them doing Reels, they are growing their IG accounts organically in such a big way. Like, even I was talking to Ashley yesterday or the day before, and she was like, it's kind of weird, but and if y'all do Reels, y'all may can testify to this. But like, it was kind of weird. Like, her account was starting to follow other people that she didn't follow. And she was like, I don't know if it's like people like from a long time ago that are just like accepting me, but she's like, these are like, we had talked, and then within 30 minutes, like 8 more had jumped on. But she was like, these are like legit people that I feel like I can vibe with. So I'm like, it's kind of cool. But like the funny, the humor. So if you're at the bottom of your screen in your IG, if y'all don't understand this, or I can send like a screen share, you know, the middle button is the reels. Well, when you do that, did y'all know that if you find one that you like, you literally just click the bottom left where it's like makes the sound waves above, right above the heart. If you like that and you click that, it's going to open up another thing that says original audio. You can save that audio, or at the bottom, you can use that audio. Here I am, not knowing what TikTok, I mean, I know what TikTok is, never used TikTok, and I'm thinking I've got to do all these crazy things to like make these funny, humorous sounds. No, you can literally save this, and if you save it, it'll be in your Reels under a Save tab, or if you go to Use Audio, you can literally use that exact same audio with the voiceovers, and like it takes like a minute to create. And I'm like, I haven't been doing this because it stresses me to the freaking max, and I don't want to spend an hour trying to make a reel. Like, and if you spread them out to where, yeah, you can do your fitness ones on a pretty consistent basis. If we do like one of those humorous ones once to twice a week, I have no doubt. I just found this out yesterday, so this is something I'm going to implement along this week with you. But like, no doubt, our engagement and our following will grow in a big way. So maybe y'all knew that, but I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, I had no idea I could just save and use somebody's audio and then put myself in it, and it take no time. I was like, thank you. That really just unstressed me in a big way. So maybe y'all knew that, but I was like, reels are where it's at right now. That's probably why you may have noticed your story viewings have gone down. Mine do. It depends on the day. Today was a lot lower. My weekends are a lot higher because most people are home. But there's that. So hopefully you found it helpful. Or if you don't know what I'm talking about, I can send you a screen record. But it was, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So, okay.